7:20 in the morning. I've just come back from Tenerife. Had a great holiday. I'm back for a very special occasion, which is the release of Eric Mason. It's the 17th of November. Eric's been away for the best part of 3 years on a trumped up charge by the police, and it's going to be a big welcome home party. It's the pub, the Hat and Feathers, and it's something which it's going to be well attended. There's going to be a lot of people here. It's going to be a full day of entertainment, a lot of laughs, a lot of drinks, and a chance for Eric to catch up with a lot of his friends. But it's going to be a good day. We're going to go down to Garth Prison now, which is in Leyland, just outside Preston, and meet the man himself coming out of the gates. So let's get down there. Well, we're on my way to Garth Prison now. Eric's been there for most of his sentence. Before I went on holiday, I was down at the pub, the Hat and Feathers, where I've just been to see Eric, who was on a week's home leave. Only managed to see him for a couple of hours, but he's very optimistic about his release. Obviously, he's looking forward to it. Just a little bit of background about Eric. He's well known for his association with the Krays. He knew the Krays as kids. He grew up with them in the East End. Lived at the street next to theirs, really. As he grew up and went into his own business ventures, and obviously on the wrong side of the law, he came across the Krays, worked alongside them in the East End, and basically he's gone down in gangland legend as one of the hardest men in London's underworld, and he's got a lot of respect amongst the chaps. He's got my respect because of the way he holds himself. He's a very polite, respectful, and smartly dressed man. He epitomises everything that's good about the 60s and that particular era, and he's carried himself well all this time. And to be coming up to his mid-70s, he's still got a good business brain. He's still got a great personality, and he's somebody who's got a good wit. And you'll find, as the day progresses, how much respect he's actually got. Yeah, there's two prisons here, Chris. It's Wymot and Garth. The first one on your right's Wymot. Past this one, and we'll go into the car park into Garth Prison. He's at the gate. The man is a free man.
Get a view of this place, Garth.
Used to see the back of it then, Eric?
Oh, bloody hell.
It's just great to see.
I mean, all most of the top jolly screws and all that come to say goodbye and all that. They're pretty decent,
Did you see the governor before you left as well? Was he?
He come up to see me myself. I'd already gone to bed. But, he's right as rain, the governor here. I think he was happy the way I got Ricky coming here and all that, and it's a bit of a feather in his cap for the local charities, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All the transfers and everything was spot on. So
yeah, I can't.
Tom was there at 6 in the morning at the train station for us.
I've got to go and see the probation people, and then get home and get changed, put a suit on. So go back to the living.
Back to the land of the living now, right? Want to sit in the front, Eric?
Straight there, yeah?
Yeah,
Get changed, right?
What they did is on the notice that I've got is to go as soon as possible to see them. Let them know that I'm out, and that's it. You know what I mean? I let her know that when I was in there before, when I came on leave, that I'm not interested in getting involved in any of their fancy schemes they have. Bloke my age, talking as young druggie. So I said, I know nothing about drug people, and all I know is I brought my kids up to make sure they don't get involved with drugs and all that. I said, all this has come through a police sting, an entrapment, you know what I mean? So I said, I can't at this time to make it my life a lot easier. I said it'll be just fighting the system, because they've gone out of their way to put me in, you know, inside, and they spent between £6 and £7 million to put me in there. It's a joke, isn't it? I should sleep like a log tonight, me, because I've had two days absolutely no sleep at all, you know what I mean? Derrian House we just passed there.
Yeah.
That's what we done the charity for when we got Ricky out there. So I'll have to go up there and see them from the point of view of the Gourmet Society.
Yeah.
And I'll get a meet with the governor there. The governor's good as gold for that prison, you know what I mean? He'd like to be involved. I could make him a member, an honorary member, the governor of the Xboxes, you know what I mean? I could sign him up.
Alright, mate. Aye, spot on, aye. So we're just on his way to see the parole officer now. Then we're meeting various different people and all that. He just wants to get sorted, get changed into a decent set of clothes and all that. So what time are you getting up? Right, that's fine. I had a charity do up in Newcastle the other week, and I've got them. I've got to take two people down to see Ricky Hatton at the gym, because they bid like enough money to go and see him and all that. So I'm going down to the gym to see him at 12:30. So we'll only be there for about an hour or whatever. So but 2 o'clock will be spot on. If you get to the bar for about 2, that'll be great. All right, look forward to seeing you, Dave. Oh, mate, alright.
Oh, you're alright, darling.
Too bad, you?
But your Tony should have told the truth about that in them days.
Alright. You mate, alright? I see you. Alright, in a minute. Alright.
People I grew up with years ago just thought right.
All those years ago, when you were running with the Krays and generally being
A scoundrel.
what changed your mind to, because you did 30 years with no convictions, when did you make the...
I'll tell you a major thing with me. I think I knew Reggie and Ronnie probably better than anybody. I'm one of the very few people that could put my oar in the conversation and say, no, you're out of order, and they would accept that. When they got their 30 years, first of all, I never spoke to the Kray twins for 3 or 4 years, maybe longer, 3 or 4, maybe 6 years. Never spoke to them, never wrote to them. Everybody was writing to them, going to visit them. And because when they murdered Jack the Hat, I mean, to me that was diabolical. The whole scenario, I've never got over that. And Jack was my friend, and he was a good man, and he went through prison with me in the early days, and he was always stood with me, and he was a proper bloke. He was, they've made him look like a junkie and all that. So that's the reason why we done him in. But it wasn't. They done Jack in because 2 Lambriano brothers took him to his death. Took him into Blancay's flat that night to have him beaten up, probably. You know what I mean? Because they were on the periphery of the Kray's firm by this time. You know what I mean? So that's when I first met them. I had clubs in Soho in them days, and they come. That's how I met them. and I introduced them, unfortunately, to the... But they took Jack down because Jack had had a pop at both of them prior to that, and he wasn't frightened of anybody, Jack, and so they was mixing it for Jack all the time. Anyway, they took him to his death. So to get to the major point, what happened is I never spoke to the Lemmer, and never went to visit the twins or anything like that. And then Dr. McGrath, the man who ran, he was the boss of Broadmoor, where Ronnie had been sent to. He wrote a letter to me, which I still have. This letter, I still have the letter from Dr. McGrath asking me to come and visit Ronnie Kray, and he said, "I know you've had a fallout with him and all that, and verbals, and we feel that he's got so much respect for you. If you come to visit Ronnie, I think you would do him a lot of good, and you'd help me a lot." And it was a smashing letter and all that. I could only I answered his letter. Then he kept phoning me, and I went down, and he was a perfect gentleman, Dr. McGrath. I don't know if he's still alive right now, I don't know. But I went in to speak to Ronnie, and he was in tears, and one thing and another, you know what I mean? And he said, "Do me a favour, go and visit Reggie, because he thinks you blanked him and all that for years," you know what I mean? And that's how I got to going to visit Reggie and Ronnie for years, you know what I mean? For 20 years.
Did you forgive them?
Well, I always, if it ever came up, I always said I can't get over that. As a matter of fact, I met Jack's wife, Anne, and fortunately I was so pleased. I met her with Tony, the son, when he was a teenager, and I was able to tell him that your dad was a proper man. And I was in a bar, the three of us, and you've never seen so much tears in your life. I said, your dad was somebody I'd be proud of, and Anne always used to say, "Eric, you're a good man," you know. And even now, I feel dodgy about that situation, you know what I mean? And that's the way life really was, you know what I mean? Anne's dead now, I know, but Tony's still alive somewhere. But I know that he said to people who've told me, he said, "Oh, Eric was my dad's best mate and all that," and he told us that as a matter of fact, if I'd have been about, he would have still been alive that night, you know what I mean? No way.
And was it that murder, his death, that decided you perhaps to take a different
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, George Cornell, I could accept that because that was. I think Ronnie was nutty anyway. You know what I mean? And Cornell, really, he kept winding him up. You know what I mean? Because he was a bit of a tough guy himself. You know what I mean? Cornell. So anyway, Ronnie took it in, and that was it.